So let's go ahead. When we hear the sound today of the bowl, we'll listen and we'll bring ourselves back into anchoring into the body and our breathing. And then just kind of noticing whether the breath is long or short for a little while and settling in. This morning's class was super interesting because for the last several weeks, we'd really been talking about as a group what it means to kind of find an anchor in our life when so much of their presence is occupied with the things they have to do, the stressors. So we're starting to try to teach the students how they can use these practices to relax, of course, but also to increase their quality of presence. As we're practicing, we're also developing this ability to check in with ourselves, to have this introspective awareness. And last week we talked about using this awareness to kind of check in while we're breathing, to notice whether we're tight or again we're kind of feeling spaced out. And we are doing this so that we can start to practice what it feels like to be in our experience with a presence of ease. Do you guys remember what a presence of ease was? Do you remember what we talked about? Yeah.
Well, a presence of ease is kind of like you're kind of like all there. Like sometimes your body is there, but your mind isn't there. So a presence of ease is kind of like your mind and your body are both there.
Middle schoolers specifically, it's an intriguing time. It's a really difficult time. Kids are going through a whole set of new inner experiences that are particularly challenging. Their own sense of identity of who am I is just beginning to flower, and so the ability, the gift of giving them this presence and being able to see themselves, see how they are socially, reflect on that. And one of the great things about the mindfulness practice, the work that Ryan is doing with the Flourish Foundation, is coming in and helping kids gain that skill. And I think teaching it at this age specifically, as that sense of self is coming online, to incorporate this idea of self-awareness is invaluable.
So we're going to see if we can strengthen this presence today that we have in our practice by developing greater focus and clarity. What would you think a life of focus and clarity means? What does that mean to you?
It means like you can be focused easily, and most things seem like clear to you.
Yeah. The mindful awareness practice really allows them to be in a safe container where they can start to develop these skills so that they actually become habits of the mind. And then what about like having clarity? What do you think that means? Yeah.
Well, kind of like when you have clarity, you're kind of you're noticing everything, like, and you're not just like kind of blowing your responsibilities off. You're saying I have to do this, and then I have to do that, and like you have it all balanced out, and you're not like stressing about it.
Yeah, and really I like what you said about noticing everything. Because sometimes we could still be kind of steady and focused in an experience, but our clarity may not be as bright as it could be. And so as we start to become clear, we can start to even notice the really small details of our life experience. And what's so cool is when we're doing this practice of mindfulness of breathing and we're paying attention to our breath, we get this really wonderful opportunity to develop focus and clarity. Have any of you noticed what happens when you start to kind of become more relaxed and calm inside of your bodies? Do you notice what happens to your breath as we've been doing this practice? Yeah.
It kind of gets shallower and like calmer. You're not breathing super fast. It's relaxed breaths.
Yeah, so it becomes much shallower and calmer. And because of that, does it get easier or harder to notice?
It depends. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. Depends on if you're thinking about what you're going to do or thinking about what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Focusing or not.
Wonderful. Yeah, great observation. Yeah, did you want to add something?
I was gonna say like the breath isn't like forced when you're relaxed enough, like when you're in that zone, because and it's harder to notice for me because you're just like you always tell us not to like change your breath or anything, so it's like you come like that instant where it's like you don't do anything and your breath's just there. You're all cool and calm.
Yeah. 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 So it becomes harder when we actually become calmer to pick up the details. Yeah. Yeah.
It's easier to notice your breath when you're not stressed, and you take better breaths when you're not stressed. So don't be stressed.
Yeah. We all need that reminder. I need to staple that, what you said, right on my forehead some days. And some of us can probably relate to that. They've had this experience of being in this safe space, of feeling maybe sometimes a little bit anxious or a little bit restless. And in those moments, they've developed this strategy of coming back and finding a presence of calm, of focus, of clarity. And then it becomes something that's really natural and woven into the fabric of their day. And I think this morning, there were some wonderful illustrations of that were given by the students of how, even though it seems like we're just watching the breath and this could be something completely separate from the rest of what we're doing, how they actually apply it to their real life on an everyday basis. Really, really inspiring. And then we'll go ahead and we'll start our practice this morning by taking just a moment to picture what it would be like to see ourselves moving through the rest of the day, being relaxed, awake, and caring for ourselves and the world around us.
So I have one specific middle schooler that comes to mind, who is one of the boys who at first didn't really understand why we were doing this, didn't understand what it was, giggled a lot during those first few sessions because of his own lack of comfort in this new environment. And as we went through the year, he began to see, wow, this is really helping me. It's an individual who got really nervous right before a big test or a project. And as he realized, wait, that nerves, that experience is something that's going on. I don't have to let it run me and control my fear in those moments. I can acknowledge it and I can work through it. And he realized he could apply that to those moments that were really tense and difficult for him. And then there were other moments he could apply it in his sporting life. Like, oh, this is just like when I'm feeling really good, if I'm skiing or if I'm playing hockey or if, playing basketball, whatever it is, I'm in that zone, I'm in the moment. And I didn't realize that I could not only practice it on the football field or whatever, but I could also practice it in the classroom. I could practice it all day long and expand those moments. And so I think he's a student who really brought that awareness to his whole existence, and I think it's made him a better athlete and a better student, and he sees the full range of those experiences more completely now.
And as we've done before, relaxing the mind, becoming so relaxed that whenever thoughts come, knowing that we don't have to squeeze tight around them, but we can just simply let them come and go. So one thing that I think is really amazing about the 1440 Foundation is that they're really kind of at the forefront of this work. And it's truly extraordinary to have the generosity and the kind of foresight for them to kind of look and see how can we actually start a revolution of educating the whole child. And I think 1440 has really been right on the forefront of doing that. We'll finish today by again listening to the sound of the tone bar. Just as long as we can hear the sound, just see if you can take a moment again to rest your mind in that felt experience of breathing.